Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. I'm a recruitment officer with the University of Toronto, and myself, along with my colleague Maria, who's also a US recruitment officer, will be answering any of your questions today. This live stream is geared specifically towards students who are currently studying at a US high school. If you have other questions, feel free to ask them on the message board at any point, as well as if your question isn't answered during this time, we'd be more than happy to get to you a little bit later. Somebody from our office will respond. So we're going to go ahead and just go over a few key dates, some updates, some information about where we're at in the admission cycle. If you are thinking of a question and want to ask it, just go ahead and type it into the chat, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. So first of all, you are watching us because you've submitted your application, so congratulations on getting through the first step. If you've got any friends who are thinking about applying to U of T, encourage them to do that as soon as possible. And now you all have obviously found the Join U of T website. Something on the website besides these great videos that you need to be keeping track of is your status check page. So for all of you who have applied to programs, except for the engineering programs, this is where you will be keeping track of everything to do with your application. So it's important to check this along with your email quite regularly. On here, we'll explain what documents are needed, what stage your application is in, when things have been reviewed, and then hopefully communicate with you a positive admissions decision. If any of you have applied to the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, they do have their own engineering portal that operates very similarly. You can keep checking that for updates as well. That's the easiest way for us to communicate back and forth with you about your application. So remember to monitor status check your email, and if you have any questions, you can always post on the message board on the Join U of T page as well, and somebody from our office will get back to you. So as you're checking that status check page, there's a few things to keep in mind. We do review applications on an ongoing basis, so we are currently working through files. We're not able to make decisions on files if there's no documents, so make sure you're sending things into us like your transcripts, your test scores, any supplemental information, anything else that you need that's listed on that status check, make sure that's sent to us in a timely fashion. If you have a transcript to send to us, you can ask your school to send it through Naviance or Parchment, or you can upload a copy of it. We also do request that you fill out the self-reported grade section to let us know of any standardized tests you're planning to take, how you're doing in your courses so far this year, and what you took last year in 11th grade, or grade 11 as we call it here in Canada. If you're taking any standardized tests or need to send us the results from, for example, the International Baccalaureate Diploma, your SAT tests, your AP exams, anything like that, be sure to send those directly from the testing agency. So you should be able to do that pretty simply by going to the College Board website or the ACT website or whatever that might be. If you need to submit a test of English proficiency, like an IELTS or TOEFL exam, be sure to submit those directly from the testing agency as well. So everything can be sent pretty much electronically. Should be a pretty straightforward process for you to get all those documents into us. Now, most programs at U of T don't require any sort of supplemental application, like an essay or a reference letter or anything like that. If we do ask for any other information from you, for example, if you applied to the Rotman Commerce program or to architecture, that will be listed on your status check as an additional item, and you should be receiving other communications about that as well. Make sure to submit those in a timely fashion because, again, we can't consider your application until everything is complete. Am I missing anything about document submission?
No, you are on top of it all.
Have I done this before? So just be sure to keep submitting things, and we'll be getting back to you as soon as possible. If you do have questions again about the status of your application, just be sure to post on the message board, and that way we can take a look and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a couple of questions. We're going to just go ahead and answer them as best as we can. Again, if something's unclear, let us know, but we'll go ahead and get started. But as we're just starting this off, if you feel comfortable and want to share, if you just want to type into the chat where our viewers are currently watching, we always love to know. I know the southern U.S. is getting some unexpected snow right now, so just a little preparation for Canada if anybody's in Georgia or Alabama or Texas. And for those of you who are closer to Canada, you're probably experiencing some of the chilly weather that comes with November. So we'll go ahead and get started with a question. So there's a student who presumed to be an international student who asks, I was wondering about my working status if I'm accepted to the University of Toronto. Can I do a paid or unpaid internship with my student visa? So can students work on a student visa in Canada?
They can. And, you know, even if you're doing an internship that's international, you have the opportunity to do that with your study permit. So that's all included. Working on and off campus is included within your study permit as well.
This is also a great time to just remind you that if you have questions about the visa process, we do have some international experience centers on our campuses that can help assist you with any questions you may have. Once you've been admitted to U of T, you'll have access to an immigration advisor who can help answer any of your visa-related questions, and you can always ask the consulate or embassy that's near you as well. Question. I sent my transcript in September, and Navient says it was received in October. I submitted my application in November, but there's no check mark indicating that my transcript has been received. Does that mean my application hasn't been reviewed? What should the student be looking for on their status check?
Sorry, it was received in October?
Navient says it was received in October.
Okay, so there could be many cases, but probably the case will be that we may not have gotten to your application just yet. So the documents may have been received, but we just may not have gotten to your actual application just yet. On this note as well, just remember that if there are any discrepancies in the way that your name is written or submitted on your transcript versus how you've applied, we have a section of unmatched documents that we have to review as well. So we'll probably get to your application. We just may not have gotten to it just yet.
And on that note as well, if you've taken any standardized tests and have a slightly different name on those, in addition to your name on your application, they will take longer or possibly not be matched with your document. So let us know. For example, if you've got several last names or a middle name you sometimes include or don't include, that may slow down the process. So you can always let us know and we can take a look for it if it's been a week or two and nothing has shown up. Question, can you talk about residence? Can you talk about how the college system works into that? Where do engineering students live? How does residence work? It sounds like this applicant is asking specifically about the St. George campus.
Yeah, so the residents basically, each of our, within the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, we have a college system. The college system really is designed to offer students more of a tight-knit neighborhood or community to be a part of, so they feel included and not overwhelmed by the number of students that are studying within the Faculty of Arts and Science. Now, when you apply to the university, if you're applying to the Faculty of Arts and Science, you will be a part of a college. You just have to rank your colleges on the application. The residence portion, you usually will pick a college based on the residence that you're interested in or vice versa. But the residence is actually you don't actually apply into it until March. So make sure that you do look into all the different residences that are available and the colleges that you're interested in. But the MyRes application is due by March 31st. And there are other dates and sort of procedures that you'll have to follow after that. Do you want to talk about engineering students and their residence options?
Yeah, so for students on the St. George campus, Mario was mentioning specifically about the Faculty of Arts and Science. That does cover quite a few of our students, but there are four other faculties. So if you've applied to the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, Kinesiology, Music, or Architectural and Visual Studies, those four faculties, their students are still guaranteed a spot in residence as long as they follow the deadlines, and this is their first time attending a post-secondary institution. Those students will be placed either at one of the college residences and have the best of both worlds, be able to enjoy living at one of the colleges while still receiving support services and that close-knit community of their faculty. And we do also have another residence that's just a short walk from campus. It's called the Chestnut Residence. It is a spot that is for all students. So students from all of the colleges and faculties will live in this residence. It's a great option for different types of students and is part of the residence guarantee. So lots of good options in terms of on-campus housing at the St. George campus. The Mississauga and Scarborough campuses also do offer residence and have that same guarantee for first-year students, provided they meet the certain conditions. So residence is not something you have to worry about too much right now. Think about it more towards the spring, but just keep an eye on your email again and make sure you're logging into that MyRes portal, which you'll have access to through Status Check once you make a decision about U of T or hear back from us. Anything else on residence?
No, I think we covered it.
Alrighty, coming up next, let's see. Can you talk a little bit about the timeline for decisions in terms of rolling admission and maybe if this applicant is interested in particular in Rotman?
Okay, so admissions is actually done on a rolling basis here at U of T. So we had an early recommended deadline, which was November 1st. This was the application deadline, so only to submit the application. And then maybe a few weeks after that, we were expecting our students to submit their transcripts, previous SAT or ACT scores, and additional test scores. And then generally from the day that we receive all of the documents, including any of the supplementary applications, so for Rotman, it would be the Commerce profile, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to review the application and make any decisions. Now, as we continue to review the applications and we see that something is missing, we do notify the students, letting you know that, to check the status check portal to see what documents are pending. And then once you submit those, it'll be a continuation. So about 6 to 8 weeks is generally how long it takes. But we encourage you to get all of your documentations in as soon as you can so that we can quickly review your application.
Yes, and just to re-emphasize, we can't make decisions on files until they're complete. So let's say you submitted your SAT scores. That's great, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to move forward with that file, and it may take longer than the 6 to 8 weeks because we don't have a full set of information to work with at that point. Alrighty, yes.
I should just mention, just in case you have already submitted any test scores and they're slightly below the minimum requirements, you may want to just upload a letter letting us know if you have already or plan on taking another test, or let's say you have you're planning on taking AP tests at a later date, or maybe subject tests at a later date. Maybe type up a letter and let us know exactly when you plan on doing that so that we can keep that in our database and ensure that we have all the information we need to make a decision on your application. And then you can easily just upload the document again on the status check page.
Yeah, just like any other university, it's best just to keep us informed of whatever your plans are in your academic life, especially if you're going to be taking any standardized tests in the future, if your schedule changes, if you drop or add any courses, anything like that, just so that way we have a complete picture when we're assessing you for admissions. All right, looks like we've got some viewers coming from Florida, from Ohio, from Washington, from Texas, so all across the U.S. Quite diverse. I'm impressed. So we have, Los Angeles as well. So we have a question about the student profiles for the colleges. So I believe this applicant would be referring to on the St. George campus in the Faculty of Arts and Science, Victoria and Trinity colleges, and when to complete them and sort of what they're all about.
Well, each college sort of has their own process, dates and deadlines for that. For example, I believe it's Victoria, whose applications did not open until December 1st, and students are given 2 weeks after that to submit their profile or their supplementary application. So definitely look into each college that you are considering as your first choice, and make sure that you're up to date with the dates and deadlines. But I believe the colleges do connect with the students to inform them about what the process will be and when the supplementals are due as well.
Yeah, so just again, the takeaway here is check your email, because that's how we will be communicating with you. If for some reason, this is a good point to bring up at this point too, your email is incorrect or something is different with your email, you're using a different email now, be sure to contact the Ontario University Application Center, or the OUAC, which is where you submitted that initial application. They can help you with any sort of those basic changes, so that way we can make sure we're staying in touch.
Yeah, you should be able to actually just log into your OUAC application and make any amendments there directly.
So take a look at that if you've got any questions. So, as we were just talking about winter weather earlier, this is also a good time for us to note that the University of Toronto will be closed coming up for our winter holidays. So, just like you probably have some time off from school, we also have some time off for work. And during this period, you'll be getting bounce backs from our emails saying, hey, I'm not in the office, and no information will be made, no updates will be made on information on your files. So, let's say it's Christmas Eve and you're just relaxing, thinking about your application, you log on to check, nothing's changed. It's because we are also all at home. So there will not be any updates made during our winter break. So if you're sending documents in, if you're sending us emails or phoning us, we unfortunately will not be able to get back to you until January 3rd in the new year. The last day the university is open, let me just look at my calendar here to make sure I'm telling you the right information. The last day the university open is December 20th, yeah. And so as of December 21st through January 2nd, we will not be responding to any inquiries and no files will be updated. So just keep that in mind. If you've got a really urgent question that you need answered, make sure it comes in hopefully sometime in the next week so we can wrap everything up before we go on break, and you probably do as well. Talking a question about what is needed to submit in an application, transcripts, etc. So All of this should be made pretty clear on your status check page. It should outline in different documents what we're looking for. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, but that is the best guide to go off of because different programs and different high school curriculums will be asking for different things. It's hard to sort of give a blanket answer to that. The one thing that we will need from everybody, regardless of program or curriculum followed, is a high school transcript. If you are submitting a high school transcript at this point, please make sure it has at least, at very minimum, your grades from 9th through 11th on it and a list of courses you're taking this year in 12th grade. If you have any grades so far, a progress report, a first quarter result, a first semester result, if your semester is ending soon, please submit those as well. But at very minimum, we need to see grades 9 through 11 and then the courses that you're enrolled in for 12th grade. Additionally, if you are at your high school taking courses online or through a local community college or university, be sure to submit those transcripts as well. They're important for the admissions process, but also for potentially some transfer credit. If you're taking a course at a college or university, you may be eligible for some transfer credits depending on the course and the program you're applying to. So like we were saying earlier, just best to give us all of the information about your academic situation so we know what's going on and you know what's going on. Yeah, let's see here. Looks like we've got a little bit of a pause in the questions. So if you have any, let's say you've been admitted. So we have released a handful of decisions. If it's not you, don't worry. There's hundreds more to come, thousands maybe.
Thousands.
But once you are hopefully admitted to the University of Toronto, at that point, you can obviously still contact us if you have questions, but the best point of contact is going to be transitioning from the admissions office or enrollment services to the faculty or college you were admitted. So let's say that you were admitted to the University of Toronto Scarborough campus for the program in journalism. Amazing, congratulations. The next step is going to be for you to contact the University of Toronto Scarborough campus directly, or UTSC as we call it here in U of T speak. They're going to be able to give you the most detailed information about next steps, about course enrollment, about paying your fees, about anything you may be wondering. They're also going to be the best place for you to come and go on a tour or check out campus if you are making a decision in the springtime about what's going on and trying to decide between universities. You can connect with your faculty, your college, or your campus about your next steps and potentially coming on a tour as well.
Speaking of colleges,
yes.
Let's say you were admitted to a college that is not your first choice, and you'd still would like to be considered for that college. The best way to go about that would be to connect with the college that you are interested in to see if they have any space available or if they can make any accommodations. So that's actually not done through the admissions counselors, but rather the college registrar themselves. So be sure to connect with the colleges that you're interested in if you are really adamant about switching to a different college.
Just keeping in mind as well that the colleges all do provide support services, advising, clubs and activities, intramural sports. So it won't have a huge impact on your experience at U of T, but if it is something you're curious about, you can connect with the college that you would like to potentially switch into. Looks like we have another question about internships, specifically about PEY for engineering. Mm-hmm. So I just earlier said UTSC. U of T, we have a lot of acronyms, but we'll do our best to explain some of those for you. So what is PEY and what does it have to do with engineering?
So PEY is what we call our professional experience year, which is a 12 to 16 month paid internship program offered not only for the Faculty of Engineering, but also Commerce and Computer Science, both at the Mississauga and the St. George campuses. And essentially the biggest difference between this and let's say co-op or a smaller internship is that it's lengthier, so it's about a year to a year and a half, and it's paid, where most internships are unpaid, but co-ops are also paid as well. Now, the great thing about this is that we have a lot of interest. About 75% of our students participate in the professional experience year. About 60 to 65% are actually hired back once they've graduated as well. So it's a wonderful opportunity to really get your foot in the door, network with your employers, build a good rapport, and then have a place to start your employment immediately after graduation. But the PEY is actually done in the middle of your degree, so either in between second and third year or your third and fourth year. So you don't actually graduate until 5 years or after 5 years. But again, this is an amazing opportunity for those students who are really looking to gain that meaningful working experience and then potentially find a job after they've graduated.
Yeah, it's a great program, and you don't need to decide right now if you want to do it as well. You do have a little bit of time if you decide to come to U of T to make the decision about that. So that looks like it might be our last question. We'll go ahead and wrap up with just a quick reminder about some important things to keep in mind. Check your email. That's going to be the number one place where we communicate with you about anything going on with your application. Check your status check. That is also the number one place, tied for first, with where we'll communicate with you about your application. Again, if you've applied to the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, be sure to check the engineering portal as well, as they will keep you updated there. But just keep monitoring those as we go through the next coming months. Be sure to submit documents in a timely fashion. If you've got things that are outstanding on either of the status check pages, please be sure to submit those as soon as possible. And if you have questions about that or anything else, be sure to post on the message board. And just keep an eye on this page for any future updates with more live stream events. Watch the video again if you've got questions, and monitor for other things. That page is a great resource if you've got questions, if you want to connect with other students, and if you need any updated information from the program that you've applied to. Right now, we don't have a date for the next time that we will be doing one of these live streams, but it will be coming soon. So just, again, keep an eye out on your Join U of T page, and we will resume them at some point in 2018. So we'll sign off here from U of T. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your Friday and great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.